Herwood hillclimb marked the beginning of a new age and perhaps a new era in the MSCC, as we dived headlong into the heart of North Yorkshire for the inaugural round of the virtual Morgan Racing Series. Herwood sits right on the eastern edge of the Wharfdale Valley and provides a stunning backdrop to one of Britain's most beloved hill climbs. One group of people, however, who didn't get a chance to look at the view were the drivers. This tight and narrow time trial course offers a different technical challenge with every corner, but before we catch up with the action, let's take a look at what the V-Mog is all about. Welcome to V-Mog, the virtual Morgan Racing Series, brought to you by the Morgan Sports Car Club. Over the next 4 months, our members, their families and their friends will be taking 4 famous virtual Morgans around 5 classic clubman circuits and up 4 historic British hill climbs. This will be a classic time trial competition, with the fastest driver in each round taking the top prize. Let's take a close look at the cars now. First off, we've got a 1961 Morgan Plus 4 Super Sports. This will be our traditional chassis 4-cylinder car. It features an uprated performance TR3 engine, however it sits on cross-ply tyres. This is going to make it tricky to drive, but in the right hands should make it competitive. Up next we have a 1968 Morgan Plus 8. This is a V8 powered monster. It's got the torque to climb the hills really quickly, however its heavy weight and old brakes are going to make it difficult to slow down and turn in. Representing the first of the modern cars, we've got the 2008 Aero Super Sports. This is a BMW powered V8 car on a modern chassis. It's fast, it handles great, and it will most likely set in the fastest times of the day. The final car of this competition, and the most modern, will be the 2022 Morgan Plus 6. This is a straight 6 powered BMW engine on the newest CX chassis. It's fast, light and nimble, however it's a real handful to drive right on the edge. All drivers are going to be allowed to drive all cars across all rounds. Each car has its own unique handicap, so regardless of which car the competitor wants to drive, they will still be competitive. And one of the challenges of this competition is figuring out which car has the most suitable handicap for that particular round. All times have to be set on Morgan's own server. Players will have a week to set a time, and they are not limited to the number of runs that they can have on the server. This should mean that the competition will hot up as the week goes on. And finally, the winner of Vmog will be the driver with the highest score over 7 rounds. For round 1, the server was set to be sunny and dry throughout the week, with a light southwesterly breeze. Track conditions were good, but were designed to improve as the road surface got better. In total, we had 8 drivers join us for round 1, most of which set their base times on Sunday and then tried to better them as the week went on. Nigel Hodson managed to get a good grip with the Morgan Plus 4 and set a solid base time. A number of drivers tried to find their feet in the new Plus 6 car, added just before round 1. Phil Cruikshank got on the server early and put down a blistering time that really highlighted the performance of the Aero 8. Up until this point, we weren't really sure of what kind of times to expect at Herwood, but Phil gave everyone else a target time to try and match. One of the first drivers to try and take on Phil's time was Warren Clark, who quite clearly took a liking to the Plus 8. Herwood is a bit of an unusual hill climb for a number of reasons, but the most ironic of all is the fact that the first quarter of the climb is actually downhill. As we head into the S's, an early braking point is required to prevent a trip into the bottom field and a quick end to the competitive time. That's swiftly followed by a tricky right-hander at Chippies that tightens, then eases, then tightens again before the climb really begins at the foot of country. Carrying too much speed towards country will probably end up with a lock-up, as the car goes light before the 90-degree left. Willow then provides a bit of rest after the intensity of the bottom half of the circuit, but a bit of focus here can provide the driver with a very fast line. Using all the circuit at this point will give you a good run up to Orchard. Orchard is a tricky left into a sharp right. The design here really doesn't deliver a natural braking line. With a bumpy run in, it's very easy to get wrong. A short straight takes us past Farmhouse towards the corner that shares its name. A good line here can save seconds at the top of the hill, as the driver enters the steepest part of the circuit on the run towards Quarry. Quarry is another one of those tricky turns as the quarter tightens whilst also levelling off, meaning the driver will have a lot less grip as the car lightens up as it enters the corner. Navigate that, and it's a short hop across the line and into the paddock for a nice cup of tea. After a while, you could see everyone was starting to get used to the new playground, and the times were really starting to tumble. By far the most active on the server in round 1 was Alan Clark, a self-described sim racing novice. Alan really started to get a grip with the cars by the end of round 1 and set a respectable time of 1:19 by the end of the week. Another driver keen to push the limits of the slower cars was Graham Constandalos. Trying to take advantage of a lenient handicap, he mainly competed in the +8 and +4, pushing those particular cars to the very limit. Howard Clark was probably the most consistent driver of round 1. Throughout the week he slowly but surely edged his time towards first place. Never too far away, but not quite quick enough to get below the 1 minute mark. This left the door wide open for Phil Cruikshank, who was the only driver to notch in a time below 1 minute. Ultimately nobody could catch Phil, whose scarcely believable time in the Aero 8 couldn't be beaten. So, after an exciting first week at Herwood, we have a final result. Mark Whelan set a qualifying time of 1:49 to come 8th. Nigel Hodgson swooped in at the end of the second weekend to grab 7th with a 1:25. Alan Clark got to grips with sim racing in 6th position with a 1:23. Colin joined Phil and set a competitive early time that was only just beaten by Warren, who took the fastest time in the +8 with a 1:18. Howard Clark delivered a rapid 1:01 but fell foul of a pretty punishing handicap, which gave Graham second place in the +4, but first place and the title of the first ever Vmog winner goes to Phil Cruikshank in the Aero 8. So the leaderboard after round 1 is as to be expected, with Phil leading, Graham second and Howard in third place. There's still plenty of time to join the action at Vmog. All you need is a membership with the MSCC and the ability to play Assetto Corsa on PC. If you send Graham an email to the address on screen now, he'll help you get signed up. And so we sincerely hope you've enjoyed our coverage today. Give us a like if you did. We hope you can join us again in 2 weeks' time for round 2 at Ty Crows. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with more racing throughout the winter. And finally, thank you very much for joining us here at Herwood. My name is Graham Constandalos and you've been watching round 1 of Vmog, brought to you by the Morgan Sports Car Club.